It's an owl standing on a pyramid in the road system of Washington. And these are the kind of people that end up at Bohemian Grove. Molech is another name they use for that owl. This is a Bohemian Grove picture in the 1950s. Glenn Seaborg, who gave the world plutonium. Cheers, Glenn. Nice one. And here is a B-movie actor. Here is a career politician, as became Tricky Dicky Nixon, and Ronald Reagan. 1950s, both very different people from very different backgrounds, both go on to be presidents of the United States because they're selected, not elected. And like I say, the sacrifice of humans and stuff has gone on for centuries, and it's still going on. That's the point. And you see it around you, amazing things. Like this is Sydney, Australia. This is a Sydney official memorial to the war dead in the First and Second World Wars. What's that? Someone being sacrificed over the sun. They know what it means. You get this symbol in Satanism for the devil, for the evil force. People say, "Oh no, it's the sign for love in sign language." No, that's with the thumb out. With the thumb not out, it's the sign of the horn god. And so you see it in Satanism, and so you see it all the time among these people too. Now they say, oh no, that's the sign of some football team, Longhorns in Texas it is. Well, does she support the bugger then? Do these support it? Does he? Amazing the number of times that turns up. So, the agenda today, where we are. It's reached a point where there's another coordinate we need to address. The goal is a centrally controlled global fascist dictatorship. That's what they want. Everything that Orwell talked about in 1984 and then some. And this is the structure they want. A world government that would make all the major decisions in the world. A world central bank which would control global finance. A world currency which would not be physical money. Eventually it would be all electronic, for which there are massive implications for freedom. A world army which would replace national armies that would impose the will of the world government. And a microchip population linked to a global computer. When I first said that 10, 12 years ago, hilarious. Not anymore. Under that, they want 4 superstates. The European Union, already well advanced. The American Union. The North American Union is very close now of Mexico and United States and Canada, although they ain't telling the people that. The Pacific Union, involving the Australia and the Pacific countries. And the African Union, which is already, of course, in existence. And what this is a structure to centralize power into the hands of the few and take it away from the many. And to turn the people into microchipped, barcoded zombies. And of course, we wouldn't allow that, except that we have, and this is China today. The computer can be programmed to do that if we detach ourselves from consciousness and allow it to happen. And it's all possible because of this structure of pyramids within pyramids and the shadow people that control those in power that come and go. And behind it all is this, and then something beyond that. This creates or instigates this to hide that's going on. So the superstate agenda. Of course, like I said earlier, if you want to control the many and you're the few, you have to centralize decision-making. So that's what the European Union, all that stuff is about, the North American Union, that structure. And how interesting that this circle of stars is a Babylonian symbol for the goddess. That's why you have the 12 stars around the head of Isis. That's why you have the 12 stars around the head of Mary in some depictions. It's a symbol of the goddess, and it's the symbol of the European Union. Another name for the goddess is Europa, of course, from which Europe came. Nimrod was symbolized as a bull, and Europa, the goddess, in that way. 2005, the European Union had this commemorative coin produced of Europa and the bull, Semiramis and Nimrod. This guy, Otto von Habsburg, one of these bloodlines, big time, is behind the Pan-Europa movement. This is their symbol, which created the European Union as it's become and instigated it from the start. And the idea, these are maps that have come out of the European Union, is to break up countries, including this one, same with the United States and Canada, they want the same, and around the world, into different regions to de-unify in a unified response to the dictatorship at the center, the European Union. And that's why they're breaking up Britain into different regions in their maps, which are connected into other regions of other countries, and you're de-unifying the authorities and the orchestration of those countries. They want this become the American Union. They're already starting to organize the road system to take goods from the Mexican ports up in through America, into Canada, turn it into one union, just like Europe. And this is another thing. The reason they're opening borders and allowing people from all different countries to come into other countries, and indeed go the other way, why there is in many areas no Mexican border with America anymore, why there is a great movement of peoples into other countries, is behind all this. And that's not racist, because those coming in and those affected by those coming in are both victims and pawns of the same force. We need to understand that. If you want to break countries up, I mean, let me say where I'm coming from first of all. I was born in Britain because if I wasn't born on a piece of land, I would have drowned. Simple as that. I don't care. I'm infinite consciousness like everyone else. I ain't British. It's just an experience. I ain't into all that stuff. But a lot of people are, and fair enough. Good luck to them. And while there is an identity of a country and a culture, that is a resistance to allowing your country to be broken up into the system that they want. So what they're doing is opening borders to bring in and cross-match people all over the place to break down. It's all systematic. We might agree with it, we might not agree with it, but it's systematic where it's coming from. To break down a sense of culture, to break down individual culture, to break down a resistance to that structure, that sovereignty, that culture being broken up. It's being systematically done. They'd have never got away with this years and years ago, but now we've got all this movement. Now they can get away with it. I keep reading articles. What is it to be British anymore? That's the idea. That's what they want to bring about, because then people will say, well, there's no country anymore, there's no culture anymore, they might as well change it, don't matter. And they're doing that in America and all over the world today. It's total cynicism of the way it's done. Now, it's kind of funny. Some of the people on the left in politics kind of dismiss what people like me say about a conspiracy, and they say there is no conspiracy to create an Orwellian state. It's rubbish. You're mad. You're stupid. All the rest of it. And the next thing they do is they pick up a banner and they say, "Stop globalization! Stop globalization!" What do they think globalization is? Globalization is the centralization of global power in every area of our lives. It is the agenda I'm talking about unfolding before our eyes. These different protests need to just come together and realize they're protesting against the same force and the same agenda. And it's an agenda for the centralization of power in every area of our lives. The World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, all these things are just pawns and creations of these bloodlines to control from the center, to create a situation where no one has independence of maneuver in their own sphere of influence or community. It's about cross-matching dependency, so this can't operate without dependency on that, and that can't operate without dependency on that. Dependence. Dependence equals control. Independence equals choice equals freedom. That's why they want to take independence away. That's what globalization is. That's why they move jobs from one country into another country and move other jobs over here, and they move this over there. It's making everyone dependent on everyone else. Free trade, love it. Wouldn't it be great if we had free trade? Free trade, freedom to exploit trade. That's what it should be called. It allows transnational corporations to make things in sweatshops in one part of the world in horrendous conditions on horrendous wages, and then ship them across. No border taxes increasingly because it's globalization and it's free trade, and then they sell them to people with the money, and they make on both ends of the deal. That's what free trade is. We don't have capitalism. Anti-capitalist. I'm not anti-capitalist. We don't have capitalism. We have cartelism. That's what we have. And then you hear, to a certain extent, the anti-globalization movement. It's just, no, there's no conspiracy. It's just big, bad, greedy corporations. Yeah, controlled by the same people. The corporations are not the origin of globalization. They are the vehicle for it. And it's all leading outside of the holographic reality to this. Homeland security, military dictatorship. This is Hitler proposing the creation of the Gestapo in Germany. An evil exists that threatens every man, woman, and child of this great nation. We must take steps to ensure our domestic security and protect our homeland. I heard that somewhere before, more recently, didn't I? I think so. So, more cameras. And these cameras are not for surveillance of the general population. That's not what they're really going in there for. General population, working through the left brain, hey, honey, you know, Paris Hilton's on, all that stuff. They're no problem. No problem at all. This is for people who are waking up. So this is in London. This was after the bombings in London. They produced this poster for the London transport, secure beneath watchful eyes. In other words, surveillance, surveillance. We're protecting you from the terrorists. And this is from Germany in the 1930s. Same bloody poster in effect, and the same motivation. And I got sent this one, stands back in amazement. This is Sheffield Bus Station, right? Sheffield Bus Station in England. Spit and run, you'll still get caught. Every bus, tram and interchange has DNA testing kits. Spit at the staff and you can be traced and prosecuted, even if we don't know what you look like, and your records will be in the National DNA Database forever. What